Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today's July 30th, 2025, and we're doing something a bit different. We're starting with a weather forecast for Azerbaijan. But our mission here is to look beyond just the temperatures and see what it tells us about these much bigger climate shifts happening, well, everywhere. So let's set the scene for you. For about the next week, say until August 8th, Azerbaijan is really bracing itself. We're talking cities like Baku, the capital, and Guba up north. They're looking at a pretty major prolonged heat wave, temperatures consistently sticking above 30 degrees Celsius and, peaking at a really scorching 36, maybe even 37 degrees. That's the kind of heat, where stepping outside feels like walking straight into an oven. It's more than just uncomfortable. It can be genuinely dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really critical here, I think, is while the chance of rain is, well, basically near zero during this time, we are expecting moderate, maybe even strong wind gusts, could be up to, say, 25 miles per hour, especially around Baku. Now, you put those things together, intensely dry conditions, serious heat, and then add wind, and you get this implicit but very serious hazard, which is an extremely high potential for wildfires. And that's not just, a weather footnote. It's a critical public safety issue for everyone there.
Right. But this isn't just some random hot week in summer, is it? That's what's so interesting here. As we dig in, you'll really see how this immediate forecast, this heat wave, it opens a window onto these deeper ongoing climate shifts that are reshaping things, not just in Azerbaijan, but globally. This feels less like a one-off event and more like, well, a sign of the times.
Exactly. You've hit it right there. This heat wave, it's really a symptom of Azerbaijan's new climate reality. We've seen research showing this dramatic increase in what scientists call very hot days, days over 35 Celsius. And like you said, these aren't just isolated blips anymore. These extreme heat events, they're becoming more frequent and frankly more intense. It mirrors this worrying trend we're seeing globally, right? Where regions are getting slammed with longer, harsher heat waves. It pushes everything, people, ecosystems, infrastructure right to the limit. And for a country like Azerbaijan with coastal areas and that resource history, rising temperatures pose direct threats to water, to health, to the very buildings they rely on.
And that vulnerability, that acute climate risk, it gets even more complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you remember, Azerbaijan is also a major player in fossil fuels. It creates this really profound paradox. On one hand, it's incredibly vulnerable. You mentioned the ranking, 24th out of 191 on that 2022 Informed Risk Index. That's high. But then its climate action, its policies are rated critically insufficient.
Yeah.
Emissions are actually projected to rise. How does that work?
That's precisely the knot they need to untangle. And it's a challenge many nations are grappling with, though maybe few quite like Azerbaijan. Just to clarify for listeners, that Informed Risk Index, it basically looks at how susceptible a country is to disasters, natural hazards, and how well it can cope. So yeah, 24th place means high exposure, low resilience. It's a tough spot. And when you see that critically insufficient rating for climate action, well, it means their current plans just aren't anywhere near what's needed to hit global targets, like limiting warming to 1.5 degrees. It really flags this huge gap between, stated international goals and the urgent reality on the ground.
So, okay, how does a nation like this, so economically tied to oil and gas, even begin to bridge that gap? Are there real tangible opportunities? You hear talk about things like Caspian Sea, offshore wind. What about that? And what are the roadblocks?
Well, that's where the conversation really starts to pivot, potentially. You have the immediate economic reality of fossil fuels, yes, but you also have the undeniable pressure from rising temperatures and extreme weather. The key is finding where economic interests can actually meet climate action, and that's what Caspian Sea offshore wind is. Well, it's a uniquely promising avenue. Azerbaijan has these incredibly strong, consistent winds over the Caspian, really powerful. It makes the area pretty much ideal for large-scale wind farm development. And this isn't just about generating renewable electricity for its own sake. It's specifically about the potential for green hydrogen. That's hydrogen made using clean energy, right? Azerbaijan could potentially produce vast amounts and maybe even export it, perhaps to Europe. It's the kind of thing that could genuinely reshape their energy future, build a new sustainable economic pillar.
That sounds like a huge opportunity, a real game changer, potentially.
Yeah.
But, for a country so historically invested in oil and gas,
Yeah.
what are the biggest hurdles to actually making that kind of massive shift happen? Is it all about the money, the investment, or are there political things, infrastructure challenges too?
Oh, it's definitely multifaceted.
Yeah.
The upfront investment for huge offshore wind projects and the hydrogen infrastructure, that's significant, no question. Then you have the political dynamics of shifting away from an industry that's been dominant for so long. Plus, you need the skilled workforce, new supply chains, but On the other side, the costs for renewables are falling fast, and the global demand for green hydrogen is only going up. So strategically, it looks like a sound long-term move. It offers a path to diversify the economy, maybe even boost energy security for neighbors like Europe.
Okay, so let's bring it back. What does all this mean for you, our listener? Whether you're actually tracking this heat wave in Baku or just curious about these global patterns. This immediate heat, this dangerous weather, it's a really stark symptom, isn't it? A symptom of Azerbaijan's new normal, which involves more frequent, extreme heat. And we're seeing versions of this play out worldwide.
Right. So this deep dive, looking at Azerbaijan's weather today and its climate future tomorrow, it really prompts a bigger question, doesn't it? Here's a country ranked among the most vulnerable, its emissions still set to rise.
Yeah.
It's truly at a critical point.
How does a nation facing such intense climate challenges, while also being the major fossil fuel producer, actually navigate this turn? What are the real opportunities for genuine change, like harnessing that huge potential in the Caspian Sea for wind power, for green hydrogen?
We've seen today how that immediate forecast, that heat wave, is tangled up completely with these long-term climate trends. So the thought to leave you with is this. What lessons can we all draw from watching a country like Azerbaijan, uniquely positioned right at the sharp edge of climate vulnerability and the urgent global need for climate action?